Good morning. Hope you're having an awesome day. So today we're going to talk about lifestyle design for your ultimate success. So, we've learned so much in this course. There's so many great ideas. Tomorrow we are going to do a review and Saturday as well. So it's not going to be new information tomorrow and Saturday. It's just going to be a review, figuring out what your golden nuggets are. And today it's not a ton of new information, but I want to talk about setting your life up for success. So, a lot of people say to me, oh, that sounds really great, mindful eating. Oh, that sounds, wow, that must take a lot of time, and people ask me about how I figured out all of these deep emotional things and how I had my breakthroughs. And the truth is, I would have never had my breakthroughs if I hadn't promised myself to slow down and to take time for me and to sit on my meditation seat and just, make that a priority in my life. So I'm not saying you have to meditate to have success. I'm just saying you have to make time for what you value. And I'm going to explain what I mean, and I want to start with a quick story. I've been on this journey for a couple of years. I've been on the personal development journey, just wanting to be the best version of myself for many years. But specifically figuring out that I was really turning to food for comfort happened for me 4 years ago, almost. It was right around the time my mom died, so almost 4 years ago. And I just started to realize something had to change. And so I started making small changes. I started dealing with my grief in more positive ways. I started, cultivating more morning routines and positivity in that way. And I did start a meditation practice. But even after Kennedy was born, I realized when she was a few months old that my life was still not working. What I wanted to achieve with my body and my mindset, I couldn't do it with the way I was living. And the first thing that I had to change, and it was a pretty big for me change, was I went from immediately training like 20, 30 hours a week, training clients and groups, to zero. And I hired some really good trainers and I mentored them and I got them ready. But I knew that to get my life figured out, I had to manage my business, my fitness studio, but I couldn't be always on the floor because I wasn't leaving anything in the tank at the end of the day. Managing the business plus being on the floor all the time, the two were great, but they weren't leaving time for me to have success. So I was overweight and I was struggling with that. I was not connecting with my daughter Kennedy, and I felt very bad about that and disconnected, and it was my biggest pain point. So I literally came home and looked at my schedule, figured out an action plan, and within a month I wasn't on the floor anymore. And if any of you that are Ironside clients, you might see me here and there subbing for somebody, but I can't do that and manage the studios and grow this online, course. And, I hope you're seeing really a change in your life, but this course is my second baby. This is like my passion. I feel like these stories I'm telling you, I have to get them out because people have to hear this stuff. I can't see another woman go through a diet and then gain the weight back and be brokenhearted. I don't want to see that ever again. So my mission is to share this vision. So that went on a bit of a tangent, but what I'm trying to say is you can't do it all. You can perhaps have it all, but not right now. And so I want you to take a look at your life and ask, is it conducive to success? And so, food is always going to be the best comfort in town. For us in this course, for me, I revert back to food when I'm stressed, lonely, tired, angry, frustrated, all of those things. And so, of course, sometimes life's just going to throw stuff at you and you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to turn to food. And as we've talked about, forgive yourself. Give yourself compassion. That's the best thing to do, because if you don't, you're going to turn to food again when you feel bad, and it's going to be a vicious cycle. But changing your lifestyle so you can have as much success as possible. So yeah, making, within reason. I have clients who really choose to take the victim mentality. Oh, Charmaine, I can't do that. I have 3 kids at home. That's impossible. Oh no, I couldn't get up any earlier. I go to bed so late. And victim. And I I might sound harsh saying this, and I love everyone and I want to help everyone on their journey, but until you decide that you are responsible for your life, nothing will really ever change. So instead of being a victim, choose, I'm going to make a tiny change tomorrow. It could be I get up 5 minutes earlier, 1 minute earlier, 2 minutes earlier, and before I set out for my day, I sit and breathe for 3 minutes. You know, it doesn't have to be this overnight huge thing. And in fact, if you try to change everything overnight, you're just going to end up sabotaging yourself because your brain is not wired for very quick change. So, you know, I want to talk about stress quickly. So it's not a coincidence that when we are stressed and we are overworked and we are overscheduled, that we don't crave broccoli. We crave carbs, and lots of them in any shape or form. And you know, we shared our, what we turn to, what kind of food we turn to when we feel our difficult emotions. And I didn't see broccoli on there. I didn't see a handful of almonds on there. You know, I saw carbs, carbs, carbs. And it's not a coincidence. And that's an exciting thing because physiologically, if you are chronically stressed, your body literally craves carbs. Your cortisol goes up, your adrenaline goes up, and your body is like scared. It's scared that it's not going to have enough energy to fight off the fight or flight, fight off the bear or fight off the woolly mammoth. We are still a product of, our genetics, so our ancestry. So we are designed when we're under stress to be in that flight mode, to be ready for anything. And that means the sugars are always mobilized. So our body craves them. Our body is afraid. Our body wants to store them just in case something else happens. So the more stressed you are, it's absolutely proven you're going to have more cravings for sugar because your body is trying to be in preservation mode, and you're going to store more fat, and you're just never going to get out of this cycle. Your willpower does not matter. If you're stressed, you're like climbing up a huge mountain with no help. It's like it's not a great analogy, but you have everything working against you if you're chronically stressed. So if you take nothing away from this day or this course other than the fact that you need to get your stress under control before you will lose weight, that's awesome. And I have women come to me all the time, frustrated. They're cleaning up their eating, they're exercising, they're killing themselves, in fact, in the gym. We're closed on Sundays, but they still work out Sundays. And, they've done all these things, but they're not willing to try meditating for 5 minutes a day. They're not willing to breathe or try a restorative yoga class. Like, they just think they have to keep killing themselves. And that's the problem. What they probably need is 3 workouts a week, maybe some gentle stretching at home, a little bit of a breathing practice, and to take the stress away from their food choices, and then they would see the weight fall off, and you will too. So if you are stressed, you need to look at that. And I'm a fitness trainer, but I have realized that fitness is one piece of the puzzle. And I'm a nutrition coach, and I don't even teach people about nutrition anymore, because if you don't have your lifestyle and your mindset figured out, no fitness or nutrition is going to do much of anything for you, in terms of weight loss, at least. So, carbs, carbs, carbs. If you don't want to have such intense cravings for carbs, you've got to get your stress down. Breathe. 3 breaths. Deep breaths where the exhale is longer than the inhale literally change your hormonal balance immediately and get you out of that fight or flight mode. So just do a breath right now and make your exhale longer than your inhale. That actually helps decrease the cortisol. So 3 breaths. Any time of the day when your shoulders are up at your ears, take those breaths. And then another thing, so I want to just share some of my lifestyle changes that I've made that have led to a lot of success for me and my clients. So first one, change your routines. Maybe there's some routines that just aren't working for you. Morning. The way you start your day sets the spirit for the entire day. The first 10 minutes of your day is very, very critical to how the rest of the day is going to play out energetically. So if you jump into chaos and you jump onto your smartphone, or you check your email, or you don't have a second to breathe for yourself, your whole day is going to feel somewhat like that. You're going to have that spirit of chaos all day long, which leads to stress, which leads to cortisol up, which leads to belly fat storage, which leads to wear and tear on your body, and nothing good. No good things happen when you're chronically stressed. So, morning routine. I'm not going to go deep into this because I could talk for days about this, but even just get up 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, and have a little moment of peace. If you don't like meditating, fine, just sit there and think about everything you're grateful for. That will decrease your stress. That will increase your happiness. So for me, when Kennedy was first born, she's 18 months now, but I made excuses. I said, "Oh, I've got a baby. I can't have a morning routine," and I just didn't want to take responsibility. And now I literally wake up at least an hour before her, if not more, and it's amazing. That 1 hour of sleep that I could have been having translates into a monumental amount of energy that I save throughout the day because I feel good. I feel like I took care of Charmaine. And I got to meditate, and I got to put my diffuser on with essential oils, and I got to watch an amazing self-development video on YouTube, and I got to do one thing that really moves my business forward, and then I get to be a mom, and I love it. So take control of your day in the morning, in whatever that looks like, but please don't grab your phone first thing. So the next thing is, make your workplace or your home life more conducive to success. So for an example, I had a woman in the course, and she was saying, at lunchtime, I'm a teacher, we go to the lunchroom, and it's so stressful because everybody's just unloading the crap that happened in their classrooms for that day. And I feel so anxious, and my stomach is churning, and I'm trying to eat, but I feel so stressed. It's a huge distraction for me. And we chatted about it, and I just gave her a few ideas, but then she came up with the idea of waiting 10 minutes after the school bell rings, doing some things around her classroom, and then going to the lunchroom. So, you just kind of have to look at your routines and see where the problems are and be creative with solutions. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but, maybe going to your in-laws is very stressful. So maybe you have to talk to your husband and say, you know what? I want you to promise me that we're having our escape plan. We're leaving by 7:30 because we have a reason why. Who knows what it is? For me, this is one of my examples. It's always because Kennedy has to be in bed by 7. If she's not in bed by 7, hell breaks loose. And so that's a really easy one because I can't spend too much time or else I start to get stressed and it gets overwhelming. And so any habit in your day that's maybe leading to overeating, maybe it's you're always working overtime. And when you finish work, damn it, you are so hungry and you are so grumpy and you are so deserving of food that you go and buy pizza on the way home because you have no willpower left and you've zapped it all the day long. So maybe it's, I'm not going to work overtime anymore. I'm going to stick to an 8-hour day, and I'm going to work really hard in that 8 hours. I'm going to get a ton done, but I can't do the overtime because it's not letting me live in my best body. And the interesting thing that will happen is as you start to lose weight and as you start to make better choices for your body, you'll have so much more mental energy at work that you won't need 12 hours. You'll get what you used to get done in 12 hours in 6 because you're just firing at such an effective rate. So look at your career, look at your day, look at your home life, and try to figure out where there's issues and what small changes you can do. If it's 10 minutes going to lunch 10 minutes later. So I want you to also question where your stories are coming from regularly. Come back to yourself. I was in the car 2 nights ago and I was stressed and I had so much to do when I got home and I was deciding what I was going to eat and I was going all crazy about it. And then I said, Charmaine, it's all going to get done. Chill out. You're making this big story in your mind of how late you're going to have to be awake and what time you have to get up and how you're not going to get enough sleep. And it was so silly. I just realized, Charmaine, you are so lucky to have these kind of problems. And I just stopped myself in my tracks because the story I was creating was causing me stress. And it was raising my cortisol and it was making me starving and it was zapping my willpower. And once I did that, I changed my story. I made more reasonable food choices. And so as often as you can, question your stories. Last couple ones. Choose forgiveness. Remember that stat I told you. People, dieters and exercisers who guilt and shame themselves if they screw up are 80% more likely to screw up again the next day. So if you, instead of feeling guilty about making a mistake and not choosing the best thing for yourself, forgive yourself, realize you're going to do better tomorrow, and just get back on track. Because if you feel bad, what do we do when we feel bad as emotional eaters? We go for food. And so it's just a vicious cycle. So cut that cycle. Avoid letting yourself get too hungry. If you let yourself get starving, you're screwed. You're going to choose the easiest comfort in town, which is carbs. If you go grocery shopping starving, you know you make different food choices. It's absolutely researched. And so willpower is zapped when you're starving. So I like to carry some almonds in my purse just in case I get out and I end up being starving for some reason, and I don't want to have to get the hot dog at Costco when I'm starving. So the almonds are a great option because it's amazing what happens when your hunger is really high. What kind of decisions you'll make for yourself. They're very different than what your rational, loving self would make. And then the last thing, and the fun part for today, is have a list of what I like to call jewels. Basically, self-care activities that fill your cup. So you can't pour from an empty cup, and you need to have little pockets of joy in your day. You might have a crazy job, you might have a crazy home life, but have some things that you do for you. So a lot of women, myself included, find this hard. We want to do everything for everyone else. We've always taken care of everyone. But if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be the best mom or partner or work, employee or whatever for others or for yourself. And so I love the idea that self-care is not selfish. And this is coming from a woman who probably 5 years ago, I would have been so embarrassed to tell people that I was going for a pedicure because I thought that was indulgent. And I just posted last night on Facebook, I was out for a pedicure and a little bit of a story about it. But literally, I would have never shown that side of me. I wouldn't even tell my husband because I felt like I was being too indulgent. So you need to take care of yourself and everything flows better. Just remember that. So I want you to take today and I want you to write down a list of things that fill your cup, that make you feel fulfilled. Maybe it's a walk by yourself or with a friend. Maybe it's just a hot bath. Maybe it's a cup of tea. Maybe it's going to a cafe and journaling for half an hour. I want you to make a list of every single thing that fills your cup, and then you're just going to share it with the group. And I want you to take it one step further and actually book those activities into your day. Because if you book in things that bring you alive and make you feel joyful, you're not going to turn to food as often to try to replace the joy. Hopefully that makes sense. It's absolutely truth. Yesterday it was going to be either a piece of carrot cake or a pedicure. I chose the pedicure. And I know we don't always have the luxury of going for a pedicure, but even a piece of carrot cake or a bath. And soon you'll start to realize that once you take time to incorporate self-love in your day, you won't turn to food for love as often. So last couple things, the quotes. I love these two quotes. Deepak Chopra says, "When you give yourself what you really want and need, unhealthy habits such as overeating cease to be a problem. Instead of fighting against a habit that always fights back, ask yourself, what am I hungry for now? Then seek to satisfy that hunger directly." And then that ties in really well to the quote I always say, a spiritual hunger can never be satisfied on a physical level. So find those non-food things that fill you up. Positive affirmation. I choose to make positive lifestyle changes a priority. And this translates into success with my goals. And I told you the share, just share your self-love activities and make sure to write them down and refer to them and schedule them in. Thanks for listening. I'm excited for the review tomorrow. It's going to be an awesome couple days and we're getting close to the end. So stick with it, keep the momentum going, and I'll see you tomorrow.